Hi everyone, it's Fiona Edgar here. This is a video about Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto enters Aquarius tomorrow and it has been in Capricorn since 2008. So let's talk about Pluto, which is a bit of a controversial planet at times because modern astrologers have assigned Pluto as the ruler of Scorpio. But I disagree, and practitioners of classical astrology will also disagree. Pluto is one of the modern planets. It actually wasn't even discovered until 1930. It is a very slow planet in terms of astrology. It takes 240 years to go around the complete birth chart. So it hovers around the same degrees for a very long time. Now, Pluto will go retrograde on May 1st. It will go back into Capricorn on June 11th. Then at January 2024, it will re-enter Aquarius. It will be there until 2043. So that's a very long time. Let's talk about the themes of Pluto. First of all, I wanted to mention that Pluto is tiny and you cannot see it without a telescope, which is one of the reasons why I disagree with it being the ruler of Scorpio. That doesn't mean that it doesn't reflect some kind of stuff going on Earth, but it is a generational planet. It will affect the generations. It's about changes within society. So Pluto is about the underworld. It is about those very dark underworld themes. It is about destruction. Whichever sign Pluto is transiting through will become completely dismantled and destroyed through a transit. It really represents societal changes which are difficult. Now, it depends how old you are. I'm 40 and I feel out of touch with technology, I have to say. So when I first became a professional astrologer, which I've been since 2013, I just did a lot of writing. And mostly on Facebook and with my posting articles and so on. I didn't even have a YouTube channel until a couple of years ago. So if you're not on TikTok and all of that, this kind of advanced technology, it feels so bizarre. But not only that, the whole issue with cell phones. And now we're in this kind of gulag, digital gulag, where you must have a cell phone if you want to use your bank card online. And I'm 40 and I feel out of touch with all of that. So imagine being 70 or 80. My parents are in their 70s and I feel so sorry for them because they just don't have a clue about all of this stuff and it's really annoying for them. And they don't know about, you have to go on your cell phone, confirm things by text, your fingerprints or whatever. It's all so bizarre. And Pluto, when it changes signs, it will make you feel out of touch with society. So the young people, of course, will be used to this because they have grown up with it. But when Pluto changes signs and you're over maybe the age of 30, you start to feel a little bit out of touch with society and with what is going on and the societal structures. Now, Pluto was in Capricorn from 2008. And if you remember, we had a big financial crisis in 2008. So Capricorn is the sign of tradition, it's structure. It is also the archetype of the father. So tradition became, well, no one really follows tradition much anymore except for a handful of people. And the financial structure has really been changed a lot since 2008. And we have digital currencies, we have online banking, and you're really tied. If you want access to your money, you seem to be tied to a mobile phone. There are ways around it, of course, but that is just the way that things went. Fatherhood in particular, men got a really hard time during Pluto's transit of Capricorn. And the whole archetype of the father was kind of destroyed. And men in particular were attacked. So now we have Pluto in Aquarius. What is that going to be like? Well, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was in 1798. One of the things that happened was we had the United Irishmen Rebellion. We also had the French Revolutionary Wars. There is a high, strong theme of revolution and rebellion throughout this transit. So we have this transit for a very long time, 2043. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is about using futuristic technologies as weapons. Pluto is also connected to weapons and stuff that they will use against us, and power and control. So when they are using technology as a weapon against us, it can seem very bizarre. All of the censorship, and there have been a lot of laws recently about hate speech. Now, they will use certain groups of people as pawns, and they will make it illegal to speak out against them. They don't actually care about these people. They are just trying to normalize censorship and freedom of speech. So unfortunately, that is going to be ongoing throughout Pluto in Aquarius, and we will see more of that stuff coming in. But there is going to be a huge backlash against it and a rebellion, because we know that from looking at history and the type of situations that were happening historically through other transits of Pluto in Aquarius. So yeah, if you can feel out of touch, and even if you were, I used my own story as an example, being an astrologer and getting all of my clients just from writing articles and word of mouth and so on. But you can feel out of touch if you're doing that, if you're practicing your business in more traditional ways. People want to see 90-second TikTok videos and all kinds of attention grabbing short clips of things. And I really struggle to get used to that. Like, I do make videos now, but the whole TikTok thing and shorts and reels and all of that, it just seems so cheap to me. And astrologers in particular, especially younger astrologers, I saw a video of an astrologer on TikTok this morning, and she was actually making a video about astrology in her underwear. And I just thought, well, Ptolemy would turn in his grave if he could see this stuff. Now, I'm still a successful astrologer without degrading myself, and I can still get away without doing a lot of the very modern advertising techniques. But you will feel out of touch. And there are other things, is that Pluto in Aquarius, they are pitting tribes of people against each other. I'm not going to go into it too much because this is YouTube, but they are really encouraging hatred between certain groups of people and stirring it up. And most people are falling for that. And what we really need to do is kind of unite and realize that we have a common enemy here. And we're kind of angry with the wrong people, really. So Aquarius is about the tribe, it is about the group of people rather than the individual. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. That's the traditional ruler. But Aquarius in itself is Saturnian. Uranus is another modern planet. It's almost impossible to see without a telescope. It's not fit to be the ruler of Aquarius. But anyway, during this transit, we are forming smaller tribes, I think. Now, of course, we have the internet, and a lot of people have lost connection with friends, family members, and people that they used to be close to. Unfortunately, because of the events of the last couple of years, they were very divisive, and division is exactly what happened. And I hear stories about people that, they haven't spoken to their family members since the whole fiasco began. Now, they have, though, found other friends and people that they are a similar mindset. That is going to increase. So, Pluto is an extreme planet. There is nothing, there are no grey areas here. There is no soft approach. It is extreme, it is hard. So small groups of people will be coming together because of similar belief systems. That is the plus side, is that there is the potential to see, to find your tribe. Now the other thing is that Aquarius actually, at its best, it is about someone that puts the need of the group ahead of the individual. And during Pluto and Capricorn, yes, we saw people completely ignoring any kind of tradition or even nature. And we will see that these unnatural belief systems and unnatural practices will become more common and openly accepted. But there are going to be some fringe breakaway groups that refuse to conform to that. And they are actually going to be getting in touch with their ancestry and their, tribal ancestry, and they will be working more with that. So with all of these transits, there are positives and negatives. So there are going to be more uprisings, more protests, because again, we have traditionally connected Aquarius with that. More rebellions, people going against the grain, because I honestly think that it has gone so far now that people have had enough and they are just going to reach a breaking point. And a lot of people have gone along with the events, especially of the past couple of years, but there are going to be people that will say, no, I refuse to go along with this. I'm not going to support what they're trying to push on us. I'm not going to be part of your digital gulag, and I'm not going to allow my children to be taught about stuff that's going to be bad for them, because we are in the age of darkness, and Pluto is very much a planet that is connected with the Kali Yuga, along with Uranus, along with Neptune, and actually Chiron as well. So these guys, they symbolize the very difficult parts of the modern age. They represent the really messed up stuff that is happening in this age of darkness. When we eventually have a societal collapse, which actually is quite likely during the transit of Pluto in Aquarius, these planets will not be seen, they will not be visible anymore. So now this is I believe that this has already happened before. This advanced civilization, it gets so advanced that it becomes completely degenerate, and all kinds of unnatural things are going on, and then there's some kind of cataclysm or flood or whatever, and then there is a reset. This is kind of the great reset for our souls, because we need to strip away urgently all of this very negative, bad stuff that is going on. And especially in 2025 and 2024, there are some really intense astrology, and it looks like that, yeah, you might want to find yourself a bunker and start hoarding all of those tins of spam. I've been doing that, since this whole thing happened in 2019. I actually have got a little stash of food and medication and insulin, because I've been a type 1 diabetic all my life, and all of the things that you would need, because it's just getting so close now. You can really feel it. My boyfriend laughs at me because he's Danish and I have a stash of Royal Danish tin tam, and I don't care if you find it disgusting. If you are, if you're starving, then you're going to be glad for your Royal Danish. So yeah, there's going to be a backlash. What we really could have here is a great reset of civilization. I know we have that horrible great reset, you will own nothing and you will be happy going on. And that really is what they're kind of inching towards, or at least using technology as a weapon of complete control against us. The money, the healthcare, it's like a social credit system done in an extremely sneaky and covert way. But nature will always find a way to reset itself. Mother Earth will always find a way to, when it gets too far, she will stop that, and we will be reset into small tribes and small groups of people once again, which is the best way to live, in my opinion. I don't want to live until I'm 90. I don't care about all of these weird drugs that are tested on animals, which may or may not extend my life. I'm happy to go whenever. I don't have a fear of death. So people will do anything nowadays because they have such a deep fear of death, and that simply is because they have lost connection with their ancestors and their ancestral spiritual practices. So one thing that I wanted to also talk about are the digital demons. What is a digital demon? Well, you've all heard of an egregore, which is a thought form. It is a spirit that you create from your own energy. It's also known as a servitor. So you can create something using energy and program it basically with a purpose. But the problem with all artificial intelligence and even the kind of realm of the internet that is not physical, the virtual reality, there's the potential there for some kind of entity to be created from these technologies. I saw this really terrifying thing yesterday. Thomas Sheridan posted it on his Facebook page, and it was about this AI programmer, and he asked this program to create an art piece of a woman, and it came up with this really weird woman, and she was all like, like zombie and sad, and it was really terrifying. But it can happen that these things will eventually have a consciousness, and it may not just be robots going down the street to keep people indoors at night. It can literally be entities that are created from the space of virtual reality. Now, what effect those have on people, I'm not sure, but it is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, is that I believe that a lot of people are semi-possessed by artificial intelligence. And there's something going on with the programmable robots that we see. When I was growing up, I was born in 1981, and when I was growing up into my teenage years, the conformity was nowhere near the way that it is today. It's kind of scary, and it's almost, a lot of people are vacant behind the eyes. I know what people are going to say, that it had something to do with certain medications that people were taking over the past few years, but this has started to happen much before that. So yeah, it's very weird territory that we're getting into, and it feels bizarre, but like I said, I do believe that we have actually been here before in some sense. And if you think about it, if there were to be some kind of global cataclysm now, our buildings are so crap, and the things, our objects are made with the most flimsy materials. The buildings are so easily destroyed. If there was something really huge, what evidence would there be that we had been here at all? So it's something to think about. And I didn't watch it, but I saw a title from Graham Hancock, and it was, "Are we the next lost civilization?" And I really believe that we could be. And everything is digitalized. If there is a failure of technology, or even if the people, the powers that be, if they decided to pull the plug on technology, we would lose so much. Even astrology, if you don't know how to draw a birth chart by hand, the way that the ancients used to, then it's your astrology skills. If we couldn't use it anymore, our software, and we didn't have the internet, could you still use astrology? So those are all some things to think about. Now I would like to talk a little bit about each sign and what the transit means for you. So we'll start with Aquarius, since this is happening in your first house. And this is going to be a radical transformation of your very identity. So you will radically change some part of your life that has been with you for a very long time. It could be your whole identity. It could be something like a complete career change. It could involve your appearance. The first house is also about our physical bodies and the appearance. So something radical, a huge transformation of your appearance or your life. Now this will unfold under a long time, but you will get little hints now as to what you can expect. So for Pisces people, the transit of Pluto in Aquarius is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is about isolation, but it's also about sleep and dreams, and it's also about the space between our physical world and the spirit world. So some kind of really intense transformation is happening in one of those themes for you. You will also get really profound insight into stuff that you do that is bad for you, and bad habits or self-undoing. We all practice self-undoing in some way, whether it's like overeating, or in a relationship you constantly push someone away and you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But Pluto in your 12th house is going to highlight that area extremely well for you, and you will get more of an insight. You also have the potential here to really have a huge transformation in terms of your spiritual life. The 12th house is also one of the houses connected to very long distance travel and moving abroad, along with the 9th house. But the 12th house is also connected with this, as it is the furthest away from the ascendant. And possibly you may have something to do with foreign countries, or moving there over the next couple of years. You may decide to do that. So for Aries people, Pluto in Aquarius is transiting through your 11th house. This may not be so bad for you, because Aries and Aquarius actually get along. They make good aspects to each other. And this is all about restructuring of friendships, groups that you belong to, people that you choose to hang out with. So this is going to really radically change your friendships and your interaction with others. So you could have a lot of friendships that end, or you could completely switch groups. Or you could have power struggles and issues with friends. You could also become a leader amongst your group of friends, or amongst an organization or group that you belong to. The 11th house is also the rewards that we get from the 10th house. So what do I mean by that? When Pluto was transiting your 10th house, it was radically changing your career. It's highly likely that you got a new job in a very different area than the one that you were working at before. When Pluto transits your 11th house, you will start to get rewards more passively without having to work really hard for them. So for Taurus, Pluto in Aquarius is moving through your 10th house. This is the house of your career, your public reputation, your job, the way that the public sees you, the way that you interact with the public. It's also about your status in life. So with Pluto moving through this part of your chart, it's highly likely that you may go through a complete change of your career. There could be the complete destruction of an old job or an old role. And when these things happen, it's usually for a good reason. The universe is saying, well, you're too stubborn to leave even though you don't like it. So I'm going to come along and remove it for you and make this path free for you so that you can move on to something better. So Aquarius does make a little bit of a difficult aspect to Taurus. They make a square, so this could be quite uncomfortable change for you, Taurus. So just try and go along with any changes and don't resist. And it's highly likely that you will gain more power from this transit and you will end up in a better place that you were before. So for Gemini, my cat has decided to join us here. So for Gemini people, Pluto in Aquarius is moving through your 9th house. This is the house of your beliefs, spiritual beliefs, political beliefs, and it's also about learning and travel. Now your beliefs are going to undergo some kind of really radical change through this transit. So whatever you have been believing in since 2008, it's going to change dramatically. Either right now, it could have even started before the transit, or over the next few years. Now you may become more Plutonian in terms of your beliefs. What I mean is that you may become more dominant and you could become more aggressive in terms of your belief system, especially connected to groups of people and that sense of tribalness. You will be kind of on the war path connected to that. Stuff like activism and so on. Now also the 9th house is about higher learning and study. So if you take a course during this transit, you're really going to change your whole life and your whole world with this course. I really advise you to do that so that you can experience really positive transformation in your life. 9th house is also about foreign countries and foreign travel. Now I've got Gemini rising and I'm moving to Denmark this year. So for me that is already, I'm starting to plan that. So for Cancer people, Pluto has entered your 8th house. This can be an uncomfortable place for it. Now I'm a Cancer and my sister is dying of a brain tumour. So the 8th house is about death. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean at all that someone in your life is going to die, so please don't worry. I have other transits going on, but it means that there will be some kind of death and rebirth in your life, and you will see things for how they really are. The 8th house is highly analytical. It is the ability to see things with no rose-tinted glasses. It's almost like you have X-ray glasses on. You can see society and the people that you surround yourself with for exactly who they are. Pluto in the 8th house is also about your partner. So any issues that your partner is experiencing, you're obviously going to feel that intensely. So during this transit, it can actually mean that your partner goes through something. It doesn't mean that it has to be anything bad, but there will be some very Plutonian transformation in terms of your partnership. It's also about your sex life. You could experience power struggles with your sex life. Perhaps you are, just to be totally honest, perhaps you have a really high sex drive and your partner doesn't, and that continues to be a bit of an issue for you. With Pluto, there's not really much compromise. So one person will have to kind of put their feelings to the side on that. Now, Pluto in the 8th house can also mean that you get a massive windfall in terms of money, usually through your partner, but it can also be about inheritance, like tax returns, and so on. However, the other thing is that you must be careful about your taxes. If you're self-employed like me, it's really imperative that you do everything above board, especially with all of these digital tools that they have now. I mean, I'm moving to Denmark this year, and their tax is higher than the tax that I pay now. So that's going to be a real change for me. However, I still think that it's a nicer place to live, so I don't mind. So on to Leo. Pluto is going to be transiting through your 7th house. This is a time when you will experience Plutonian people coming into your life for a relationship. Now, there's going to be some intense, deep, difficult transformation with this transit that you actually experience because of a partner. So perhaps the relationship acts as a catalyst for healing. Or perhaps there is just, this person is unlike anyone that you've ever been before. There can be power struggles. There is that sense of obsession. And actually, Pluto is the planet of the underworld. So I don't mean that these relationships are all going to be bad. I just mean that they are going to make you grow in some way. And it may be uncomfortable for you, especially because you're a fixed sign. Leo is a fixed sign. It does not really like change that much. So the other thing is that the 7th house rules your clients. So if I've got cat hair on my face now. So if you have clients, maybe you're self-employed in some way, you're going to hit the big time with these people, and you're going to have a lot of power when it comes to one-on-one partnerships and businesses. So on to Virgo. Virgo, Pluto in Aquarius is going to be transiting through your 6th house. The 6th house is about your health. It's also about your daily routines, daily schedule. Now, you want to be careful with Pluto transiting through this house. So you're likely to become very disciplined and controlled with your health and your diet at this time. And that is a good thing, because if you weren't, then Pluto would potentially cause some health issues. Virgos are very disciplined anyway when it comes to being fit and healthy and eating well, but this will reinforce that. There may be some issues with your daily schedule. You go through a complete destruction of your current schedule and then you end up getting a new one, which can be kind of difficult for you to deal with. Now, pets, any pets that you have, you can get new pets, or there may be some, it could an issue with your pet in some way, because the 6th house is also about small animals that you keep around at home. So on to Libra. Libra, the Pluto in Aquarius is moving through your 5th house. This is going to be super intense for any kind of romance and partnerships that you have. There may be power struggles to do with your kids. In fact, you may end up having a kid, because Pluto is about, destroying something and then creating something new. And in the house of creation, if you're trying to have a kid, it's quite likely that you will have one during this time. You tend to become more obsessive about relationships. There could be a romance where there are some very strong Plutonian themes. For example, you could be obsessed with them, or they might be obsessed with you. Now, on the plus side, if you're a creative person, you're going to have a huge, it's going to be your creativity is on steroids, and you're going to become very powerful through your own creativity. So, also in the 5th house, your very identity will undergo some kind of transformation. Your self-esteem and the way that you feel about yourself is also going to transform deeply throughout the course of this transit, and it could be because you discover that you have some actually really cool skills, creative skills that you can make use of. So for Scorpio people, Pluto in Aquarius is transiting through your 4th house. Scorpio and Aquarius don't really get along. They make a square. So this may involve some degree of discomfort for you. Now the 4th house is about your home, it's about your ancestry, and it's also about your childhood and your family in general. So the first thing that comes to mind really is that you could be moving. You could be moving, and it will be something extreme, like moving countries or moving into a completely different residence than the one that you're used to. So it could also be, as Pluto is known for being sort of like the wrecking ball, it literally could be that you knock down a physical structure in order to build a new one. So I could see that happening. Or you buy a new house and you start to build sheds or stables or other structures around that property. There may be some power struggles going on within your family. There also can be a very dramatic change within your family for various reasons. So there is a bit of an underworld energy with Pluto. So if you do move, then you have to kind of make sure that you haven't moved with a huge like portal open or something in your home. But you can make the most of this by just accepting the changes that you are experiencing, as all of the signs kind of need to do that. So for Sagittarius, the Pluto in Aquarius is actually moving through your 3rd house. The 3rd house is about your siblings. If you have any brothers and sisters, there is going to be some very dramatic change with them during this transit. There could be power struggles going on. You know, people can, within families, they can get along for many years, and then all of a sudden there is some dispute, and it kind of changes the whole family structure, which is kind of one of the things that might happen with this transit. Or if there is not a dispute, it could be something major, like maybe one of your siblings moves abroad or something else that is quite big. The 3rd house is also about your car, your vehicle, the transport that you use to move around. So there could be some dramatic change in terms of that. Your neighborhood is also ruled by the 3rd house. So as Pluto is involved, sometimes that's going to mean that you have some kind of really big dispute about people that live in your neighborhood or an area of land that is close to you. Maybe you live somewhere and they're planning on building quite close to you, and you know that's going to change the whole like structure and dynamic of the place that you live, and you may not really want that. So on the plus side, Pluto is great in the 3rd house for thinking and communicating about stuff in a very passionate, deep and intense way. It is good for learning something new, perhaps a new language, and because you'll be thinking so deeply and profoundly with this transit. So finally on to Capricorn. Well, Pluto just left you. Well, will leave your sign tomorrow. And boy, have you been through the ringer since 2008. You also had Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn a few years ago, along with Pluto. So really, your life could have been so chaotic. And, you know, things were ending, new projects, new relationships were starting, old marriages ending, jobs, all kinds of stuff. It's a serious death and rebirth time for you. But the heat is coming off a bit now. So what you can expect now, Pluto is going to transform the area of your finances. Pluto can give you a lot of power when it is transiting through the house of money, the 2nd house. So maybe this huge transformation that you went through, or that you were going through from 2008, perhaps you got a new job, you learned a new skill, you became a completely different person altogether. And that is fantastic, But now Pluto is coming along to transform the area of your money and your finances. And you could experience really big highs, really big lows. Pluto is not moderation at all. It is really extreme. I also kind of get, why do I get the sense here about digital currencies? Because Pluto in Aquarius is very much about digital currencies and cryptocurrency. So if you're someone that you're trading, or you were trading, there's going to be a huge difference than the money that you were earning from that over the last several years. It doesn't have to be bad. It could be eventually, if crypto does go up again, you get a huge windfall. But what Pluto is really trying to do here is to help you to really change the way that you earn money and your relationship with money, and for you really ultimately to become so powerful in the area of finances. Capricorns are great at that. They are great with money. They're great with climbing the ladder, because the animal for Capricorn is the mountain goat. The mountain goat reaches the top, even if there's a blizzard, a snow blizzard, and the rocks are icy and you can't even see in front of you. All of the other animals have fallen off the mountain, but the mountain goat keeps going and he reaches the top no matter what. And that is exactly what Capricorn is like. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks very much for listening to this. If you would like free daily astrology voice clips, you can join my Telegram channel. I'm going to leave the link below. If you would like to become one of my students, to train you up as a professional astrologer, or just to be able to read birth charts, you can go to my astrology school website. I'll leave the link below. If you want a reading, you can also go to my website, or if you just want to say hi and leave me a message, that's also nice. So I also have a new, I'm not running it, but I have a new Facebook kind of fan page that someone else is running for me. So I will drop the link, and please give it a like. It would be really very much appreciated. And please share this video. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope that you enjoy this video. Love you all, and I'll be back again soon.